I was like, oh no, I have the wrong for working. Okay.
Oh, I had the wrong one.
Okay. We're moving on to public comment. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. There is a 5-minute time limit per caller, and Ms. Sokowski will be keeping track of time. Please note that this is a public comment, and comments by the council, mayor, or administrator will be at the end of the public comment section. At the end, no more calls will be accepted. The link is available on our website. The phone number to dial in, I believe, hold on, is 1-301-715-8592. Motion to open the public comment.
So moved.
So moved.
All second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 We
Aye.
have a couple hands up. If I can get my mouse down here.
I'm just getting the list. Good evening, Mr. Ullman.
Good evening. Michael Ullman, 2 Clark Avenue in the township.
How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you. And yourself?
Good, thank you. What can we do for you?
A couple of questions. I saw there was an announcement on Buldo. They're changing their pricing, which prompted me to recall last year's budget, which contemplated township provided garbage pickup. And I was wondering if that is contemplated in this year's budget. If it is, when will it start? And if it's not, why was it removed between last year and this year? The second question is the list of roads to be paved in this year's program includes Hudson as well as the town hall parking lot. And my question is, given the contemplated work at the DMF building and what I would assume would be some heavy machinery going back and forth on Hudson as well as using the parking lot, is it prudent to include that in this year's program, given that it might be torn up? Would we be better off selecting other roads and having that done perhaps next year when all the work would be completed, hopefully? The next question is on page 101, fire department turnout gear. Just a question as to why a $8,400 thermal imager was included in turnout gear as opposed to other equipment. Is that a mispost or is that in the appropriate line item? And in terms of the fire department on page 100, the clothing allowance, there is a payroll line in the clothing allowance for $4,375. The same question. It seems out of place in that line, but there possibly is a good explanation, or is it a mispost? And I don't know if it's going to be reviewed here, but the contract that we have for the construction of the emergency services building, I had a question. Did that contract or the contract that was awarded, does that include the knockdown of the existing firehouse once the new firehouse is complete? If it does it also include repaving or finishing of that site? Does the contract contemplate any movement of the monument park, the Fireman's Monument. Will that be moved as part of the emergency services building? And is it contemplated that anything will be done as part of that contract with the old red house lot? When this was initially discussed, the red house lot, as well as the monument park, or monument, excuse me, it was contemplated that there would be reconfiguring of that.
1
And
minute left, Mr. Ullman.
thank you, Ms. Wachowski.
You're welcome.
Just wondering if that is included in the pricing that we received on the existing, or would that be additional? The last thing is, I understand, I believe the mayor mentioned that there was a donation of some furniture. Be interested to hear from the chief or director if they contemplate the need to purchase any additional furniture or fittings for the firehouse that are not included in the budget, or excuse me, included in the contract that was awarded. We're kitting out bedrooms, or excuse me, bunk rooms. So just wondering if the donations that we received included bedroom furniture or beds, or they have to be purchased, and is there other equipment and furnishings that are contemplated that are not included in that award that was done last year?
Okay, Mr. Ullman, your time is up. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Ullman. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Mrs. Rydell. Just unmute here, I'll ask you to unmute.
Hi, how are you? Christine Rydell, 302 Hickory Street.
Hi, how are you? Thank you very
I'm
much
well,
for
thank
calling
you.
in.
No problem. So, I'm also going to mention the letter that I saw regarding Boldo, and I want to ask if it is possible that we revisit the individual contracts that we have with both Boldo and Waste Management for our, waste collection. My understanding is that these contracts were initially done, giving residents an option between once a week, twice a week, Waste Management or Boldo as a way to, I guess an economic option. You choose what you need, you choose what you want to spend type thing. Now I'm hearing that from this letter, Boldo has now removed the once a week option. Everyone who is on once a week now will have to either switch to Waste Management, because I believe they're the only option that does once a week, or they'll have to do twice a week and spend basically double what they had been paying before. As somebody who already uses Boldo, my price now went from $408 to $432 a year. Not a ton of money, but is it worthwhile to look into sending it out to bid? Go to Waste Management, go to Boldo, ask them if we were to include this in our taxes, contract with you and you only for our waste management, what would the price be? You're going to pit the two companies against each other, and you're going to end up most likely coming up with a better amount, a better price per household than you would if we're individually choosing who we want to go with. Because we're no longer having the option to save money because we're all basically forced into one plan. So I think that it's something, Westwood does it. A lot of other towns do it. And then if there is a cost savings, I understand that we would have to then, of course, raise taxes, quote unquote, but we're not really raising taxes. We're just reallocating our spending as a household. Because for me personally, even if I took my $400 and something a year, added it to my taxes, I would just feel better with it being from my taxes as opposed to like having to write a check to Boldo every quarter. So just something to look into. And also if we could explore the option of weekly recycling, that would be so wonderful. With Amazon packages and all the online shopping, it's really cumbersome to be holding on to all this recycling, for every other week. So just something that I would like considered if possible.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Rydell. Is there anything else we can do for you?
Nope, I think that's it.
Great. Have a good evening. Thank you very much for
Thank
calling
you
in.
too. Thanks.
This time I see no other hands up, Stacy.
Yeah. Motion to close public comment portion.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Mr. Tova, would you like to comment on the list of roads?
I would, yes. We're well aware that Hudson and the parking lot are subject to substantial work. But that money was received through an NJDOT grant, so we wanted to show the intent to get it done as quickly as possible. We know it's going to be a timing issue as far as when that remediation is done, but at least we can show DOT that we planned on doing it and justify the delay in doing so.
Okay. And anything with the contract for the firehouse, does it include the knockdown of the building?
I obviously don't have the contract in front of me, but I believe it does. I know the monument is not included in the spec, but I will double check the knockdown and the paving tomorrow.
Okay. And then if you could get back to the council on that, and I'll comment on that on the next meeting for
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Ullman. Okay. Thank you. And then Chief Sicko, I know you're not usually part of this, but the donation of furniture that Mr. Ullman was referring to, would you be able to speak to that?
Sure. We did get a bunch of meeting room and office furniture, file cabinets, desks, conference table type stuff. Nothing towards the bunk rooms yet. Obviously, we're going to work. A lot of the furniture we have from this firehouse will move over to our house as well. And we'd look for whatever donations we can that would be appropriate to outfit the remainder of the rooms. But yes, there probably will be some costs involved in that somewhere down the road, which I know we had initially discussed and had planned for. And that's, why we're looking to get as much donated as possible to minimize the cost of the township.
And just to confirm also, the monument is not included, does not need to be moved or remediated at this time with the current plan, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, we're losing
Mr. Tova,
approximately 10 feet along side of the parking lot there. When the new building construction was starting, we thrown out, moved all those blocks into the side of our lot, and we will use that to the best of our ability to reconstruct with the new property line, the monument as necessary. So there shouldn't be any cost to the town on that.
Okay, great, thank you. Mr. Tova, do you have any other additional comments on anything that was mentioned this evening?
Just regarding garbage, we are the last caller asked about going out to bid for those services, and we are contemplating doing just that later this year.
Okay, great, thank you. I also agree with Mrs. Rydell and looking into it as per what Mr. Ullman said. I did ask Sue Wachowski to reach out to Bulldog to confirm that the once a day was canceled. And I think it's a shame, it's a good thing they're getting rid of the bags, but the $36 a month does come to the $432. And for the people who are, paying for once a week, who are paying less, like half of that, and now their garbage is going to double. So I do agree, and I brought this up last year, thinking that we should be providing those services to our residents, and I agree with trying to get the recycling pushed up, because I know that for a lot of residents it does back up, especially with everybody's being home. Hopefully that will change in the near future. We won't, maybe people will be eating out more, but with being home, having more bottles and containers and more packaging for Amazon, I absolutely agree. Those are my comments for this evening. Vice President Morgan.
Basically covered it. I agree that with Ms. Rydell we should absolutely visit or revisit the town absorbing the, garbage pickup, and recycling once a week is not a bad idea. I know there's going to be a cost associated to that, and we try to keep that down, but you basically covered everything. I'm in complete agreement with her. We can definitely look into that.
Thank you. Councilman Cascio?
Let's see. I'm not on mute. That's good. Again, I think we've covered it. We just have to remember that when we have more trucks, specifically garbage trucks and recycling vehicles on the road, it does eat up the roads in town. So that's something we want to keep in mind. So if you look at the current waste disposal, it's basically having 4 trucks come down each block every week. We could reduce that, and then if you add weekly recycling, you're going to increase that by another 26 trips down your block. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but over time, those trucks are big, and it does wear the roads down. So that's the only issue that I have at this point. But I think we can mitigate that if we do go out to bid and figure something out. So, other than that, I think we covered everything.
Thank you, Councilman Cascio. Councilman DeSena?
Few things. The firehouse bid, when I was on the committee with Mr. Cumming, did include the knockdown of the old existing firehouse and replacing it with pavement. Monument Park was not to be moved as per Mr. Kovo. That is correct. The second thing is that a lot of the equipment and material we needed to outfit the buildings was supposed to come from the surplus. That surplus has been eaten into because of the retaining wall into the back, so it will make it difficult to outfit it under the existing budgetary money we have. To Mr. Ullman and Mrs. Rydell's question, this budget does not include the $400,000 amount like last year's budget did to do garbage pickup. So, we don't have a funding source for 2021 in this budget right now. I did reach out to Mr. Pollard this morning, and his response, due to the Boldo rate increase, I thought maybe the council would have a say in it, since it was adopted by the council that the residents either use Boldo or Waste Management. And the response I received from Mr. Pollard was, I don't believe that the township has a contract with Boldo or any other solid waste collector. Our waste collection system is based on a direct arrangement contract between a homeowner or other waste generator and the solid waste collector. As a result, there is no contract or change for the council to approve or consider. There is a requirement in our code that the waste collector must have a system where waste is collected in sealed plastic bags, but they can be any plastic bags. As I recall the discussion at the time, people did not want garbage thrown loose into garbage containers, but that some form of plastic bag must be used. And it was forwarded to the entire council. So we do not, I know people have been calling me, we do not have a say in Boldo's rates or increases. And the only thing we could hold them to is the plastic bags, which I've always had a problem with anyway. So I don't have an objection to getting rid of the plastic bags. That is all I have tonight, President Feeney.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. (2021) budget fire department. Okay, so we're starting on the top of page 35. So the first item is fire department director. It's a stipend of $1,250. It stays the same. Does anybody, let's take a vote on it, unless there's discussion needed.
It's good.
Okay. Sue,
Good.
Sue, whenever you're ready.
Oh, you ready for me? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Councilman Cascio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, takes care of that section. So fire department office supplies, $500 up from $400. Is this, Chief Sicko, do you have any comments on this one for the increase for this year?
Just that we've been really have not had a line item for this that was used properly in the past. Ink, you can make a couple copies on a printer, and the ink is $150 now for the color printers. So we expect that that's going to be spent on a reoccurring basis yearly now.
Okay. Does anybody need discussion on this, or can we vote?
Nope.
Okay, Sue?
Good with it.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, subscriptions and books, $100.
No
Everybody
change
good?
there.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yes.
Do we,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to take a vote. I'm going to say everybody said yes. Okay, dues, meetings, and conferences, $1,000. I see that you spent $250 this past year. Is that due to COVID and you're anticipating it opening up this year, or?
I'm sorry, you cut out for a second. What did you say?
Oh, I said dues, meetings, and conferences. It's $1,000 this year. It's been $1,000 every year. Last year's spend was $250. Was that
Yeah.
due to COVID, and you think it's going to open up? Or?
No, last year, so we get our Pascack Valley dues, which come basically in 3 different sections. 2 of those sections got appropriated to a different line item last year.
Okay.
They should have all been in one that should cover and wipe out that budget the same every year.
Okay, I'm good with it. Does anybody want to have discussion?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, 4 yeses.
Mrs. Feeney, can Chief Zicko, would you like Mr. Gugger to join us as a panelist? He's an attendee right now.
Yeah, where would you like them?
Yeah, panelist is fine.
I just noticed he was there, so I said, I think he should be on the call, I think.
Okay. Office equipment, $250. I'm good.
with it. I'm good with it.
Does anybody need discussion?
No.
Good.
Okay. Desiree, good? Okay, 4 yeses. Okay, office furniture and equipment, $2,000. Chief Sicko, do you want to speak to this line?
Just with the pending move to a new firehouse for either the end of this year or early next year, depending on how things go, we are probably going to need a little bit extra in that for some miscellaneous office stuff.
Okay, does anybody want to, I mean, I'm good with it based on the explanation. Does anybody need
I'm good with it.
discussion?
Good.
Desiree, good? Okay. Okay, radio expense. I know last year there was supposed to be a one-time expense associated with this, Chief Sicko?
What we did last year, we wound up ultimately combining pagers and radios.
Right.
We used it all towards radios last year.
Okay,
So we used the pager portion of it towards radios as well. With the upgrade to the new radio system, most of it this year would be used towards pagers.
okay,
We're kind of set with the radios we've got right now, but we're going to need some pagers.
I do have that note from last year that you did say that there was going to need to be an upgrade this year for the pagers. So that's what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, and this is, then you have a quote, obviously, or know how much you're going to spend? This is, you're good with this?
Each pager is approximately $600.
Okay,
I just have a question on that. On page 37, under purchase of pagers, it looks like historically it was a lot less. Is this, you see it second from the bottom?
I'm just trying to find the page because our page numbers are
Oh,
different.
right.
so it would be on the, so this is
Purchase
1,
of
2,
pages there. Yeah,
3.
so traditionally we were about 5,000 per year on radios and 5,000 per year on pagers. Last year we upgraded more of radios than we would have in 1 year and didn't upgrade any of the pagers. This year it's going to be the opposite because we didn't do them last year because we were in need of the radios.
And wasn't the radio changed too? My notes say that you went to a dual band radio.
No, dual head radio, if you're looking at the audit trail, that's for like the Chiefs cars. They have the radio in the front and in the back, so you can operate out of that.
Okay,
When you're at a scene, you're operating out of the back of the truck, not the front.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Any further
Fine.
discussion?
I'm fine.
No, that's fine. He explained.
Okay. Sue, let's have a vote here, please.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay. Dispatch services, we're at 2,200, same as last year. I'm good with it. Anybody need discussion?
Good.
Okay.
Training, $1,000. It's in line with last year. The spend was 600. I'm good with this. Hopefully COVID will open everything else. Chief Zipka, do you have any comments?
The 600 do a lot of the training we normally would have.
Okay. Do you want to reduce it at all, or you want to leave it as 1,000 just in case?
No,
you
I
get
think
additional
we're going to
members?
be able to get a lot more training done this year.
Okay. I'm good with it. Anybody else have discussion?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay. Desiree, good? Okay. Okay, uniform and safety equipment, 12,000. Chief Sitko? This is in line with the prior, so I'm good with it, unless you have any comments.
No, but I think
Okay.
it's good where it is.
Okay. Anybody want discussion here?
Does this include turnout gear? Kevin?
No, turnout
Or-
gear has its own line item.
That's what I thought. Just checking.
It's actually at the bottom of page 37, Councilman Casio.
Yeah, I thought so. And I guess the other question is that for officers' uniforms as well, or just uniforms in general?
No, that's for every firefighter. When they become a full member, they get issued one uniform. That's part of that there, and then the safety equipment aspect of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else need discussion?
I'm okay.
Okay, Sue, can we have a vote here?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, oxygen and fire extinguishers, $1,000. Last year, your spend was 1,283. Is 1,000 going to suffice here, or would you like to?
1,000 will be fine. We had, with the new trucks coming, we had to purchase a couple of extra extinguishers that we normally wouldn't have.
Okay. Any further discussion required, or everybody's good to go?
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, building maintenance, 6,000. Chief Zicko, do you have any comments here, or?
Well, obviously with the new building coming, there's not going to be a lot of maintenance that we do this year, so it probably will not even spend 6. But anything emergent that happens repair-wise for the building and our, like the maintenance of the generator and that kind of stuff, ongoing janitorial supplies, et cetera, we're going to still have to spend. We can't just completely neglect the building, but we're going to be smart with how we spend it and only do what's absolutely necessary for proper operation.
So you'd
Yeah,
still
there was
like
a lot of
to
there
leave
was
it
a
at
lot of
6,
1,000
correct?
there was a lot of stuff built to that is not building maintenance. I mean, it's
Would you, Chief Zicko, would you like to make a recommendation in lieu of the 6,000?
Let's move it down 1,000.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Okay, so Councilman
Make it
Cassius
5.
making a motion for 5,000. Can we have a vote, please, Sue?
We have a second.
I'll second.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
5,000.
thank you, Chief Zicko.
Can we answer though why other things are billed, as Mr. DeSena said?
A lot of that stuff is shovels, rakes, and brooms for maintenance of the property of the building. Again, that's stuff that's going to carry over towards, the future building as well.
Okay, thank you.
Unless I'm missing something else on the audit trail that I'm not seeing.
So I guess that should not just be building maintenance, it should be building maintenance and maintenance supplies is the name that would be effective there.
That was the one before, that there was one there once before.
I know, but I think that last year, based on my notes, it was combined into the below line based on prior years. So,
Oh.
so it was building maintenance and supplies was combined into building maintenance from my notes from last year. So maybe we could just update the name there and then it would
Yeah.
be more in line with the spends per, what everybody's saying.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't look like you needed a million reclasses then because they're supplies. That makes sense.
Right.
But I do
Perfect.
have a note that we did ask for that last year. So I know that we have to put a ticket into Edwards. Mr. Tovo, could you add that to the list and just combine it like building maintenance and building maintenance supplies or just building maintenance and supplies?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Building maintenance and maintenance supplies, because then it can get hairy with just supplies there.
Yeah. Okay. Did have a note for equipment. and stuff. Okay, the next item is equipment purchases. Chief Sicko, any comments here or?
No, but I think we were pretty close to our target last year at 5,000. I think we're more than comfortable staying there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good with it. Everybody, any more discussion required?
No.
No? Okay. Councilman Catsio, you're good? Okay. Council, Desiree, you're good?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Mrs. Feeney,
Yeah,
Mr. Tova, I was going through just like Mrs. Feeney is my budget notes from last year. And it seems like not one heading was changed from the 2020 edits to the 2021. Was a work order not put into Edmonds to do that?
I know some changes were made. Some of them did not take when we went from the Excel sheet to the Edmunds sheet. So really, we have to go back to Edmunds again and have them correct all these.
Yeah, because I have I know Mrs. Feeney's pointing them all out. I have them too written all over. And I mean, I have dozens of them that we changed and they didn't get changed for some reason. So we could just look at if it's Edmonds or we just forgot or what it was. So please.
Now, it's clearly when you do the switch over from the Excel to the Edmunds, it doesn't always catch the changes, so we'll have to put a work order in there.
Thank you.
okay. I think I did equipment purchases. Okay, so miscellaneous, sorry. Chief Sicko, you've increased this amount, which is fine. Just a brief explanation if possible.
Well, with our spend last year, actually would recommend we drop that back down to 2,000.
Okay.
But again, miscellaneous equipment between the two new trucks and the move to a new firehouse, there's probably going to be some miscellaneous. But given our spend last year, I'd say we take another 500 off of that and just make it 2.
I'm good with it decreasing it till 2. Do we need any more discussion or can we just take a vote on the 2, the decrease?
I'm okay with it.
Make a motion for 2.
Okay, I'll second.
Second.
Sue, vote.
Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Sorry, just 1 second. I lost my page for a second. Okay. Okay, inspection and chief's dinner.
Yep, and I've got, in lieu of COVID this year, we did not have the chief's dinner and installation dinner at that. So I'm going to recommend for this year that we lower that amount to 5,000. But going forward, future years, the costs obviously of all of that are going up. So that's why we had put in for that initially, not knowing whether we would or would not have the dinners.
Okay, so I'm good for 5,000. I make a motion for 5,000. Can I have a second and then we'll have
Second.
discussion? Does
Second.
anybody need to have discussion or do we want to vote?
Last year, it says we paid for the dinner at 10,000.
Correct. We paid for it last year. We did not have it for this year. So we don't need that extra in the budget for this coming year. We already canceled our Chiefs and installation dinner.
It was prior to COVID, correct?
Last year was prior to COVID, yes.
Yeah.
It's traditionally held the end of January.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It was before we all went home.
So that 2020 is really for 2019. That year.
No, it was January of 2020. So
Yeah.
this would have been for January of this year.
Yep, gotcha.
You always budget a year ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I see it got
Budget a year ahead.
paid on October 6th of 2020. That's why it's throwing us off because of how late it got billed.
Yeah,
I'm
because
okay.
we end up paying for it up front and then get reimbursed for it because it happens before the budget's approved.
Gotcha.
It's not planned in advance. It's for that year.
Yeah.
The budget doesn't
Correct.
get passed till May, June, and
Gotcha.
Yeah. And,
Yep.
and
You know.
seasons understand. So
Always.
they give us a nice
No, we-
little cushion.
the fire department pays for it. We wait for the reimbursement from the town.
Right.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the motion right now, Chief Zicko is making 5,000 for 2021.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
I'm okay
So-
with it.
Okay. Any more discussion or can we vote?
I'm good.
Vote.
Okay. So Sue, let's vote, please. Thank you.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. And thank you for reducing that line. Fire department hardware and parts, 1,500. I'm good with it. Does anybody want to have discussion here?
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Good to go.
Okay. So that's that section. So we've actually come down 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Fire department clothing allowance, 47.5. Chief Zicko?
All right. I had recommended, typically every couple of years we put an increase in on that. I had recommended a $50 increase per member. And the line item is really budgeted based on every member making their full credits and percentages. Traditionally, there are every year a couple members that do or do not make it. So we typically don't spend that whole line item.
But you don't know for
But
sure
that
until
calculation was based,
on the
but you don't
current
know until
members.
the end of the year.
So it's in line. I'm okay with leaving it in case instead of you having to come back and have to ask for more money for uniforms, for clothing that you need. So you're increasing it $50 per firefighter, it says.
Correct.
Any further discussion here?
No.
Yeah, Kevin, you have more firefighters on the force now, or what are the numbers like?
We have gotten a lot of junior members lately that are not currently eligible for the clothing allowance until they become full members. But there's a bunch of them that will be turning 18 this year. So we're looking
They'll be needing
roughly around 50 members at this point.
Nice.
But that goes up and down through the year too.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with the number. I'm okay with it. Thank you.
So let's, Councilwoman Morgan, do you have anything?
No, it's in line with last year's, so I'm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sue, could we have a vote here, please?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, preventive maintenance on the trucks, 10,000.
Yes, and that's in line to an extent where it should be. A lot of last year's expenses wound up being charged to the repair lines because the trucks got their preventative maintenance while we were making up lost time on many of the repairs.
Okay. Does anybody want to have discussion on this? Okay, no, everybody good with it?
Yes.
Okay. Desiree?
Yes, I'm good with it.
Okay, good. Hose testing, 2,500. This is in line with prior years. Does anybody need to have discussion here?
Yes, Chief, do you think we need more once the new ladder truck and the other new truck arrive?
No, I don't think we need to do more, but I had suggested that we combine the fire hose testing, the fire pump testing, and the fire ladder testing all into one
Yes.
line item. They're typically all done by the same vendor. I don't even think we have a line item for pump testing. It always just gets tossed into wherever we have money.
No, but that is part of my notes is that you were going to
understand.
But
try,
honestly, I'm not
yeah,
even
that you were gonna
sure where
try
I
to,
can find it in the audit trail.
you were gonna try to get a separate line for it just in case in the future you wanted to look at it differently. Or it was a potential change for this year.
I'm just trying to find where the pump testing wound up this year.
I think last year, wasn't it in equipment or something?
Let's see. It would have been technical fire services. So I found hose testing for 2031. The ladder testing was 1,200 and change.
What's the name of the vendor?
There's technical fire services.
It's under 001 on 101.
On 101?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It might have gone into miscellaneous. I flipped that page already.
No, it's under hose testing, technical fire services, $2,031.
No, the other one was under fire department miscellaneous, 0125265500. There's three,
Oh, there's
all
three.
by
of
the
them.
same vendor. So it's 600.
Yeah, I see it.
So 2031, so 2,700 plus 1,200, 2,900, 3,900. So if we combined all into one, we could put in 5,500 and cover ourselves.
And then can we take the money out of those other accounts to put it here then?
Yeah, well, there's only two line items. And then, like I said, the one went under miscellaneous because there was no line item for it.
Okay, so under miscellaneous, we
So if
have,
we just did fire,
we only have 2,000, we went down to 2,000 there. So if we increase this 3,000 to 5,500,
correct, and then wiped out the line item for ladder testing. Or are we on
Okay.
ladder testing? Yeah, wiped out the line item for ladder testing.
no, we're on hose testing
But you have ladder testing on the next page.
page, right? No, I wanted to make sure you knew we were on hose testing, not on ladder
Yeah,
testing.
we're on hose testing. We could eliminate ladder and just call it hose, pump, and ladder testing.
Okay, Mr. Chova, can you add that to the list to turn, it's 1-0125-267-001 to hose, ladder, and pump testing. Is that correct, Chief Sicko?
Correct.
Already done.
Okay. Thank you. And then we're going to we're going to zero line 1-01-25-25-268-002 for 2,500. Correct, Chief
Correct.
Sicko? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, does anybody need to have further discussion on this line, or can we take a vote for the
Okay.
5,500?
Good.
Okay, motion for the 5,500 for the change to this line.
A motion.
I need a second.
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 Sue,
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
yes, okay. Okay, next line is purchase a pager, which was merged into radios. That was also, I think, supposed to change to radio and pager
Yes.
expense. That was.
Yeah, and that would have included then repairs and purchase.
Correct.
So, Mr. Tovo, so 265-360 should be radio and pagers.
That's correct. Notes already made.
Thank you very much. Okay, next line. Everybody good with that? Can we go forward? Okay.
Yes.
Turnout gear, 25,000, which is in line with prior year. Do we need discussion here?
No.
Everybody good? All yeses? Yay?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, 4 yes. Okay, so this is going up. Okay, Scott Pack compliance. I'm good with it. It's in line with last year. Do you have any comments here, Chief Sicko? Is he
Nothing
frozen?
from me.
Oh, okay. He was frozen. I thought we lost him for a second. Okay. Do we need discussion on this line?
Yes, Chief, we have they're all
Yeah,
brand.
I'm okay with it the way it is.
No, but I'm saying we're all brand new, right? We don't have any old ones left. I know 2 years ago, we spent all that money in the 2 budgets to replace every one of them. Are they all replaced at this point?
You cut out. I didn't hear what you said.
2 years ago, my first year on council and second year on council, we had a huge expenditure because our Scott Packs were outdated and they couldn't be recertified. So we all brand new now, and we have a replacement program in place where we're not going to get hit with huge numbers to replace them all at one point in time.
No, that was the Scott bottles, and that was for a chunk of them, but not all of them.
Okay.
The Scott Packs is going to be something that we would talk about. We do have a grant request in for Scott Packs with the town's grant writer. Hopefully we get that. That would absolve the issue, but we are looking at replacing about 27 packs, as we can.
Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's one of those things that fell into where they let it go so long in the past that then everything became lumped in at one time instead of doing it. So that would be something I would love to find a way to come up with a 5-year plan where we can purchase 25% of them each year rather than all of them at once.
But this cost is not taking care of that.
The longer we wait, the more detrimental it becomes because at some point they have to be replaced. You can't get by with them anymore.
Correct.
So would you like to put a plan together and see if there was something the town can do that we could talk about at one of the council meetings?
If we purchase, to start with, just because we're already behind, if we started purchasing with 10 under capital this year and then 5 a year from there out, until they're all replaced, that would be something that would work.
Could you work with?
Probably go to.
So you said 10 this year, 5 next year.
And we have 27, 28. The new truck's going to have more seats. So, if we got close to 30, so phase that in 10, and then the next 4 years do 5 apiece. I think that would put us on a good track. And then somewhere down the line, we got to do the same thing with bottles because there's big groups here and there where there's 20 bottles at one point. Now, when you purchase packs this way, you have to purchase bottles with them. So that would solve the bottle problem along the lines at the same time.
So maybe put a plan together, Mr. Tovo, and we could put it into action.
Sure.
My question would be, do we want to wait to see the results of the grant before we do that?
Yeah, I got to look and see when that is. But yes, that was something we thought about. It's just a matter of then we're kicking the can down the street for another year. Can we get by? To an extent, yes. But again, it's probably the most vital, aside from the trucks itself, it's the most vital piece of equipment that we carry.
I just don't want to have the same situation occur that happened with the bottles themselves, where they all end up going back, expiring at the same exact time. And like you said, it's the most vital piece of equipment that you use. And, I don't want to be, trying to get things recertified at the end of their lives. We should be replacing these, you guys volunteer your lives to go into these fires, and you should have the best equipment. So I'd like to see a plan, and I hope the rest of the council supports that plan so we can get you the stuff you need.
Yeah, I'd like to see that plan too. If you could work with Mr. Tiller,
Yeah,
maybe have the plan, even if the grant doesn't come through, it's something we can absolutely discuss.
Yeah, we need to discuss.
I have that in my notes to bring that up under capital. And if we plan for a purchase at the end of the year, we'll have the grant answer by then, and we can just take it out of the capital plan if we have the answer. I think if we purchase them around December, we'd be okay.
Okay. Okay, I think that sounds good. So I'm good with the 2,000 here. We need further discussion? Is everybody good with the 2,000?
I'm good.
Good.
Desiree?
Good.
Just for a note, that is for the testing and the repair of those.
Okay, because it says compliance, right? So everybody's aware. Okay, so we removed the ladder testing.
Yep.
So we don't need to do anything there.
But
So
at
it's going
zero
to
now,
zero.
right, Mrs. Feeny?
Yes, it's going to zero, yes.
Yep, okay.
It's being merged into now will be the all testing line. Okay, fire hydrant service, 150,000. Just any discussion required? I see it's in line
That would
with
go-
last year and the previous years.
That would be through administration. I believe that's contractual with Suez.
Right.
That is correct.
Mr. Tomo, can we ask Suez when they will complete the, we've been talking about this for many years during budget meetings. We still have a lot of old hydrants around town. They're supposed to be exercised, on a certain amount of town. I've never seen Suez drive through town and exercise these hydrants like they're supposed to. And we have a lot of old hydrants. I know, driving up and down Lincoln, they're old 1950 style hydrants that need to be replaced. Could we find out, we're giving them $150,000 a year for, forever. And, when they're going to come through town and start replacing some of these hydrants?
Yes, I will check with them on that.
Thank you.
Okay, fire department physicals, 1,500. It's in line with last year. Chief Sicko, any comments here? Or
Just that's going to be one of those lines that you can never truly predict. It's based on who joins. Every new member has to get a physical.
okay, I'm good with the 1,500. Does anybody want to have discussion here?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, Councilman Cassio.
Fine.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Length of service award program.
That's done again based off of the credits. Really nothing to change at the moment on that. It depends on who makes their credits and who doesn't. And that also, and the ambulance corps follows their same program with that as well.
Is there a reason that the 2020 is not complete yet, Chief Sicko? Is that your responsibility, or is that?
We handed in our records that are needed for that, who did and didn't earn. I do think that takes a little bit of time, because if I remember correctly, people, if they didn't make their credits, have like 30 days or something to contest or review. And of course, the credits can't be turned in till the end of the calendar year.
I have a note that if they're usually not booked until April from last year's council
excuse me.
meeting. Yeah.
They're on the agenda for Monday.
Okay.
To approve those two resolutions, because they did post for the 30 days and everything was good.
Do you know how much it is for, by
That
chance?
I don't know. The resolution just states that it's by the people who made it, and the list is attached to it. So Joy would have to figure out what that amount would be. But it's
Yeah.
not on the resolution.
I do have a note that we had the same thing last year, that it's usually not in by the time we do fire. Okay, I mean, I'm good with it. It's most likely in line consistent with the prior years.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, anybody else need further discussion on it?
No.
Okay. Councilman Cassio?
Well, if you don't know what the number is, why don't we just table it and see if we can
No,
knock
but
2,000 off?
It's like that every year.
I know. Trust me. I'm well aware of the problems we had with LoSAP in the last 5 years. So, because that was an issue the way it was written up originally, and we corrected it. So, I'd like to see what the number we anticipate to be. That's all. So, if we could table, we can always come back to it. You know, if you want to, approve the 95 and come back to it, I'm okay.
Dr. Cassio, that number is from last year's LoSAP. We handed in that's from last year. At the end of the year, it gets, we give them the credits. So this 95 that we're discussing is for next year. It's always a few months behind.
Right.
But that 95 was already approved for last year's.
Okay, I'm fine with it. I'm not worried about it. I'll approve it. I'm good.
Okay, let's have a vote. We can always revisit it if the number comes in way low based on Monday's meeting. That's okay.
Yes. Sure.
So, so let's have
I'll
a
make a
vote
motion
here.
for the 95.
Second.
Okay. Sue, whenever you're ready.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Ms. Fee, can I ask the chief a question?
Sure, of course, yes.
Chief and director, I did not receive a capital request from your department this year. So if you have one, I need it like yesterday.
Okay, I never got a request to submit it, but I will work on that and I will get it to you in the next day or two.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, that is the end of fire.
There are a couple of line items that still fall under fire that are spread out.
Get tires. Stuff like that.
00126315005 is the big one. And I think it falls under road department area
Yeah.
or DPW.
Yep, it's on page 47. It's 25,000, correct, Chief?
That's what I'm requesting, yes. And that's no change from last year.
We also have on page 46 tires.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
3,000.
Tires, gas, all that stuff.
okay, so okay, we have 25,000 on page 45, right?
47.
47, sorry.
Tires is on page 46.
6, yeah. Okay, so anybody need discussion on page 46 for the tires?
No.
Okay. Desiree, good? Okay,
I'm good.
okay. Okay. And then the 25,000 on page 47 for maintenance, for equipment parts. Actually, no, that's zeroed out now, right? That was combined, so that's in my notes.
That's the repair line item now.
Yeah. So it's fire, vehicle, equipment, and repairs.
Correct.
Okay, I'm good with it. Does anybody need discussion here?
I'm good with it.
No?
Good.
Desiree, good? Okay. Any other lines, Chief?
That's all that I have, unless the director has something I missed.
No, I
think
can't
we're
find
good there.
anything else.
I think that's it.
Okay, so the only thing we're waiting on is confirmation on the number on the LoSAP. But other than that, everything is cleared up and we just have a few name changes. Thank you very much, Chief Zicko and Director Bilius, for attending the budget meeting tonight in the budget section and answering all our questions. It's greatly appreciated.
It was our pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Adjournment from
Take care.
public meeting. I make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for a productive
Good night.
meeting.
Good night.
Night all.